What's up, everybody? I want to do a quick review of last night's vice presidential debate. I'm going to be honest, I did not watch the whole thing. I got about halfway through it and I just couldn't take it anymore. What you are going to see if you watched it, what you saw was two politicians, each saying what they want to say to make their side look better. Not acknowledging the criticism from the other opponent, and or just saying that it's not true, especially in Kamala Harris's point. She was just, that is not true. That is not true. And there was one time she said it when Pence specifically referenced when she said something in a debate. And she was like, that is not true. That is not true. It's like, I think it's important to understand gestures, facial expressions, saying something is not true in today's era of politics does not mean that it's not true. Also, when one side says to the other, we should be talking in facts and in truth when we're going to be saying things. When they themselves are saying things that are untruthful and unfactual. This is a common line that is thrown out, which is very important emphasis to remember that we need to do our own searching. And I encourage you guys not to look at things. Anybody that wants to know the truth needs to not look at things from just one point of view. Now, you guys can act like there's not just one. You can act like most of the media is fair and balanced and not biased. That is just, in this case, it's just not true. It's not true. It's not true. The media is on two sides right now. You've got Fox and you've got like One American Network. And then you've literally got everything else that is biased to the left. Now, I'm not going to criticize whether or not you believing something should be left or right is the wrong thing. Everybody has their right to their own opinion. But if you want to know the truth, if you want to get the full body of context so you can understand each position most accurately, then what you need to start doing, this is what I've had to start doing since Trump got in office. You have to watch one source from each side. That way you're getting the full picture because one side is showing half of it, the other side is showing the other half to make their point look good. So I would encourage you to, if you're going to be watching CNN, which I think is one of the worst networks possible, absolutely biased, then you're going to have to stomach watching some Fox. Hate to break it to you, because you're hearing half of the story, and I have a feeling that you would want to know the full story, and you don't want to just regurgitate what a party line wants you to think and say. Because when you talk to somebody that actually does know the facts, they're just not going to take you seriously. It's very easy to tell what side somebody is on based off of the information that they spew back to you. So I would encourage that. The other thing that I wanted to say about the debate, though, the moderator, she was in her questions, she was saying things from the get-go that were weighted in Kamala's favor or against Pence. One of the things that she said was to Kamala, the very first question, she starts off, the coronavirus is out of control. When you and Joe Biden, if you get elected, what will you do different? Understand what the problem is with that question. She's already starting it off with a statement. That statement is absolutely up for debate. And it was framed in a way to make it look like it was clearly Trump and Pence's fault. So if I were Pence, he played politician, and instead of answering, he just said the American people have done a great job, blah, blah, blah. Like, answer your questions. Same thing for Kamala. Because when she got to this question about the coronavirus is out of control, what will you guys do? She rambled on about how awful the current administration was and that they should have their right to be reelected revoked off of it. And then she said that their plan was to make sure that contact tracing was done and to get a vaccine. That's essentially what she said. And then Pence countered and said that's what we basically did, which is true. But Kamala's like, that is not true. That is not true. She didn't offer a plan. So in other words, she didn't answer the question, even though it was weighted in her direction. But anyways, that's a long tangent ramble, getting back to what Pence should have said based off of the weighted question in Kamala's favor and against the president. When she says the coronavirus is out of control, I would have definitely asked. I would have said, I don't appreciate, that you starting off saying that, because I feel like when we look at the data from the CDC, it's very clear that the death rate has been declining since, I believe it's mid-April. There was one little tiny spike, I think, in May where the death rate went a little bit back up. But even with cases continue to drop. Death rate continues to drop. CDC came out with new guidelines that said that for the majority of the population, the survival rate is 99.98%. 0.02 people are dying from the coronavirus, and we're treating it as if it is out of control. That is a negligence, not doing your part on part of the media. So he could have been hammering on her for that. There were plenty of times where he could have done that. The other thing that she said to him, which was a fair question, a good question, we got 210,000 deaths in our country. Why do we have so many compared to the other nations? That was a fair question that he didn't really answer. He just said, President Trump, he stopped the borders at, sooner than anybody else said that he should do it, including Joe Biden, which is true, even though Kamala's like, it was true. So he needed to address that, because as somebody that wants to know, I want to know. I want to know, why do we have so many? I have some theories. My theory is that based off of the way that we're counting things and based off of how many more tests that we've done in our country versus literally anybody else, if you want to go and see just how far beyond with testing we are than any other nation on earth, go to Worldometers Live, which is the Johns Hopkins University tallying for what's being done, and that will show you very quickly we are like almost twice, if not more so, than every other nation on the planet as far as testing. Guess what that means? If we're testing more people and it's revealed that more people have it, then that means it's going to be a higher total of people that are dying, because they are counted in the amount that would not have been counted otherwise. That is one explanation for it. But anyways, I just want to stress the importance. Now, this is what I do think is important from this debate. Aside from that, I feel like people need to be honest, stop being politicians and tell the truth. Stop fighting for your side. Stop not acknowledging when your opponent calls you out on something. Aside from those things, we very well could be looking at the actual president of the United States, especially in the case with Biden and Harris. I want to ask every single person that watched this and that's being honest, do you guys really think that Joe Biden is going to last 4 years? That's an honest question to ask. And based off of the clear signs of mental decline, do you think that Joe Biden will last? I don't think he's going to last 4 years. And I think that the Democratic Party knows that. And that's what kind of really freaks me out about Kamala Harris. The woman is absolutely manipulative She lies. She laughs in people's faces when they confront her with truth. Another great example of that absolutely destroyed her in the Democratic debates was when Tulsi Gabbard called her out on the fact that she had incarcerated more people for low-level crimes such as marijuana and put them away and refused to let them out, and she was laughing about it during an interview. That actually happened, and if you look after that particular primary debate, she tanked in the ratings, or in the approval ratings. That is worth considering. She has not changed. And again, don't get distracted because, oh, she's a woman of color. That means that she's going to fight for women of color. According to that very argument that Tulsi made against her, who is also a woman of color, Kamala Harris had nothing to say about it because it was true. She was laughing after acknowledging that she had thrown away, or that she had incarcerated a whole bunch of people for marijuana charges, which is a very low-level thing, which is the thing that the people on the left are saying that they have such an issue with about the current systemic racism. They use that as a key indicator of it. So, worth keeping in mind. If you don't like the idea of having somebody like Kamala Harris as your president, then you might need to consider not voting for Joe Biden. Now, on the other hand, you've got Pence, who's as boring as watching the paint dry, and a lot of people are afraid of him too. I'm absolutely not as afraid of him being president if Trump were to somehow pass away as Kamala. Pence is definitely more even keel. He's definitely also going to he's not going to rock the boat, where I think Kamala Harris might try to turn into an evil dictator. But that's just my opinion. That's just my feeling. And you guys can think I'm full of crap for that. You have the right to say that because I can't say those things for fact. That's what I got. Hope that you enjoy this. Think about it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tell anybody else that might be interested. Thanks.